give a lot of credit to the WWE with this week's Raw. I thought they did an outstanding job of really kicking into high gear on this road to SummerSlam. They utilized their 3 hours very wisely and very effectively to launch off a lot of different things, do some new things, reset the table on some things. It was a very, very good job by the WWE. It is interesting, though, that as well as I thought they did in a lot of areas, I still wasn't that incredibly entertained by the show. And maybe that's in part because a few of the things that they're doing, I just frankly don't give a crap about. But that doesn't change the fact that I thought the WWE did do a lot of things well with this week's show. And it leaves me asking, why can't you do this all the time on the road to every pay-per-view? I've had quite my fill of the Triple H and or Stephanie McMahon authority promos kicking off Raw. Been there, done that, run it into the damn ground. So when I saw Triple H coming out to start Raw, I said, Christ, here we go, 15 minutes of praise God with a couple of snide remarks mixed in, and this time apparently was towards the fans. Whoopsie daisies. Apparently you don't like us very much, but you sure like to steal our ideas when it comes to Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins and how to book them at Battleground, don't you, Hunter? Just saying. Don't believe me, check out my Battleground preview show. Anyways, at least I will say, he didn't ramble on for too long. Here comes Orton, here comes Kane. You're setting up the table here with what you did, the 2-on-1 match with Orton and Kane versus Reigns, and Reigns winning. And then later on in the night, when Orton is sitting there acting like he's going to be the guy to face Cena at SummerSlam, Reigns comes out there and fucks him up. You set the table nicely for Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton at SummerSlam. And if you're not going to go with my plan D, as in ding dong dumb dicks do it, and go with Roman Reigns right now, the least you could do is give them featured big-time matches, a big-time spotlight, and give them signature victories at Big Four pay-per-views like you used to do back when you built up big-time new stars. And Roman Reigns versus Randy Orton fits into all of those categories, and I'm down with this feud heading into SummerSlam. Bitch mode Stephanie is always the best Stephanie, because when she goes into bitch mode and fully immerses herself, you buy it, you believe it. You think this is real because it largely is real. When she tries to play and get people to like her, it just comes across as phony and doesn't work. Bitch Stephanie is outstanding, and Bitch Mode Stephanie was outstanding on this week's show. The stuff between her and Brie Bella was the best television on Raw this week, bar none, period. You got Stephanie sitting there booking Nikki in a 1-on-4 handicap match. Brie's bought her ticket. Here comes Stephanie. They have an altercation. She pimp slaps the taste out of fucking Brie Bella's mouth. And they go off and she kicks Brie Bella out. And then the Flo Rida concert. I'm sitting there wondering, why is Stephanie out there? There's got to be another reason. And then after he performs and I tune out for a few minutes and zone out, then here's a big hubbub and a baloo on the outside of the ring. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? That fucking Stephanie getting arrested. This was great shit. You're in Florida. That results in a battery charge. Thank God Brie Bella didn't have a gun, Stephanie, because stand your ground laws would clearly indicate that she could have shot your ass. I'm just saying. But this was tremendous television. And Hunter, even later on, when he's sitting there saying, this is family, Joey Mercury, I got to go. But she's got to go through processing, and the lawyers are heading down there. I got enough time. I'll wait here. I'm like, that's what you do when you're God. Praise God. You fucking make that bitch wait. You already put 3 daughters in her. The only way you rush down there to get her is she's actually going to give you a fucking son. But the problem with this is that, to me, the dynamics of this, even though it worked incredibly well on television and made for great TV and has made for some really good TV over the past couple of months, and I applaud the WWE for sticking with this storyline and letting it play out over the past couple of months, is that Daniel Bryan's not there. And to me, the dynamics of this work so much better if Daniel Bryan is actually there, where Stephanie McMahon is able to fuck with him. Furthermore, if you're setting up to a Nikki Bella heel turn out of this, that's fine and terrific. I'm sure some people will like that. I don't care. I don't want to see Stephanie McMahon wrestle a match at SummerSlam. I don't care about either one of the Bellas. I sure as hell don't want to see a Bella versus Bella feud, even if it makes storyline sense for a Nikki to turn on Brie because she pissed off at her sister for the fucking positions that she put her in. I'm just saying, it made for great TV, but the problem is I don't care. To the idiots and the numbskulls that were pissed off that The Miz won the IC title at Battleground Sunday, I hope you see what I was talking about. I hope you understand now that The Miz as the Intercontinental Champion is a good thing, a borderline great thing. Look at it this way. This week, The Miz is featured in the 1-hour main event in a match that gets a ton of time. Therefore, putting that spotlight on your guy, big old Ziggy, as I call him, mediocre bum Bartholomew Gunn II, whatever the fuck. They got tons of time. They had the match of the night. He freaking Ziggy's win over so you can sit there and rejoice. You know, a lot of good things came out of this. I'm actually surprised that they might be going in that direction instead of Miz and Sheamus at SummerSlam. Maybe they're saving that for Night of Champions, and I'm okay if you're going to do that as a unification match. But my only thing with this is I think they missed the boat with The Miz. You're in Miami. He's from Cleveland. Instead of wasting the LeBron crap on Damian Sandow, have The Miz as your heel. Fucking drive that point home. That LeBron left. That the Miami fans don't care anyways. They didn't deserve him. He was just on loan. You borrowed him, and now you can go back to not watching fucking Heat games. And when you do, leave it in the second damn quarter. They could have just had The Miz come out and cut a 10 or 15-minute promo and not even done the match between him and Ziggler. Maybe you could have saved that for next week. But what they did do with Miz, I will say, was well done. And again, I appreciate the spotlight that they gave the IC champion. The 1-hour main event, went 15, 20 minutes of segment time. Him and Ziggler had the match of the night. You had to know something was up when they were pairing up Paige and AJ Lee in a tag match, and you had the feeling that maybe something was going to happen here. And thankfully it did. After Paige and AJ Lee win their tag match, they celebrate for a little bit, and then BAM! Paige yanks that bitch's hair from behind and beats the piss out of her, at least for a short period of time. Paige turns heel. Now AJ is clearly the face. Paige is clearly the heel. The dynamics of this work so well indeed. Now we're rolling. Now you've got me a Divas championship feud that I can actually get behind a little bit, that I can fucks with, if you will. My thing is that follow-up is going to be critical to this. Don't just sit there and put them in lame-ass matches every week. You've got AJ Lee. Give her segment time. Give her promo time. Give Paige some promo time. Feature them in the 1-hour or 2-hour main event segment. Make this feel like something spectacular as a Divas Championship feud, because now that you've really got the ball rolling, it very well potentially could be, especially with both girls, I think, working in their more comfortable, more natural roles. I thought that Chris Jericho was desperately needed for the WWE heading into SummerSlam and Night of Champions, and I thought a good natural fit for him would be Bray Wyatt. And man, while in theory that seems like that should be true on the surface for a lot of reasons, the WWE to me is really starting to stink up the joint with this thing. I mean, they really are. They're getting a little repetitive in what they're doing in terms of Bray Wyatt and his crew beat down Jericho 3-on-1, whoopee. And then Bray Wyatt goes and rambles off a promo for 10 minutes or more, some of which we understand and some of which we don't. I get the whole concept of you lose the battle, but ultimately it's about winning the war, and I get that, and that is fine with me. But WWE, could you not have found a more original or creative way to stoke some interest in this, to really set it up nicely, to follow up off of what happened at Battleground? Because to me, this just kind of went over like a fart in church, at least for me anyways. Obviously, for those of you that consistently and or religiously watch this channel, you know that I have been a big-time champion of the cause of calling out the WWE for their pattern of behavior of racist and prejudicial treatment towards their non-white performers over the years. And I think many of you can agree, even though some other people on Twitter and the social media world tried to sit there and say this and that they were, big proponents of this, and maybe they were. I think everybody can agree that nobody is more of a proponent of calling out the WWE for their racist bullshit over the years than me. Even if you don't like when I do it, I think nobody goes to the lengths that I do to call out the WWE for this shit. So, of course, obviously, my most entertaining and awesome thing that happened on this show was when I saw Xavier Woods in a fucking suit. As soon as that happened, I said, oh shit. They're going there. They're going there. And this is a real chance for the WWE to take this issue that they legitimately deserve to be taken to the woodshed over and making it their own, and in the process being able to potentially make some new stars. My thing, though, is with the WWE, if you were going to do this, you cannot put the WWE spin on this. You have to go all the fucking way with it. That means incorporating the right characters, changing names, changing looks, adding people, having these guys talk about anything and everything that's prejudicial or racial about the WWE. And I implore the WWE again, you must go all in, because this shit can work and work really, really well and really get over eventually as a babyface faction. You think I'm bullshitting? I promise you, this could get over as a big-time babyface faction long term, and you could really make some nice stars out of this. I'm going to talk more about this on Wednesday on this channel, I believe, unless I do it Thursday, about my ideas for this so-called new nation. But obviously, I'm fucking pumped. And I'm so pumped I put a call into my cousin, and he's going to be on this show next week on the Raw Review to talk about his love of this new nation of domination. You can imagine my surprise when it looked like Lana was poised to start saying something and the WWE basically cut off her mic and sent out the great Khali at freaking Rusev. WWE, stop. Stop caving. Stop pussing out. Don't let the lamestream, state-run, corporate-owned, mass national news media that is profiting off of that freaking plane crash guilt shame you into dropping this freaking angle between Rusev and Jack Swagger. You have something good here. You have something old school here. Something simplistic yet genius in its nationalistic tones, and something that frankly can benefit both characters, that both characters, Rusev and Swagger, really need at this point. And you have a potentially compelling, intriguing matchup heading into SummerSlam. Don't puss out. All the other things you've stood firm with over the years, the same company that saw Owen Hart fall to his death at Over the Edge 99 and said the show must go on, has now apparently decided that they're going to puss out. They didn't even mention Swagger. They didn't even follow up on it, really. Come on, WWE, grow some nuts. I found it very interesting. They went there with Cesaro. He just flat out said he's no longer a Paul Heyman guy. To all of you that had these grand delusions of Cesaro main eventing with Heyman in his corner, or Cesaro getting to feud with Brock Lesnar, it would sure seem like at this point that you could put all that shit out of your freaking mind once and for all. You know, and all this talk about Paul Heyman being the greatest manager of all time also needs to fucking kick rocks. If Paul Heyman was so great, why is Curtis Axel where he's at? Why is Ryback where the hell he's at? Frankly, when he was with CM Punk, he actually brought CM Punk down, and Cesaro is the latest victim of being associated with Paul Heyman. When it comes to a WWE standpoint, if it's Paul Heyman, frankly, and it doesn't involve Brock Lesnar, it pretty much does no good for the other performers. See Axel, Ryback, Punk, and now freaking Cesaro. And so Cesaro wants to be a Triple H guy. Who wouldn't want to be God's chosen one? So we got Ambrose versus Cesaro. You know, it's funny with Ambrose. I see more and more all the different comparisons that people make. The one that's starting to really jump out to me the most is Terry Funk. I see a lot of Terry Funk in him too, with some Pillman and some Piper mixed in. But in terms of some of the crazy off-the-wall shit he's doing in his matches, very Terry Funk-like. I was really surprised to see that they had Ambrose and Cesaro finish the way they did. I liked the finish in terms of having Ambrose be out of control and off the wall, throwing chairs in, hitting Cesaro with freaky chairs, getting disqualified and all that. But I was really surprised that they didn't incorporate Seth Rollins here, and I was really surprised that they didn't have Seth Rollins maybe cost him the freaking match. You know, I was surprised, but it still came across pretty well. And the whole theme of the night was who is going to be John Cena's opponent at SummerSlam. Kind of nice and refreshing to not have Cena on freaking Raw this week, and it seems like the WWE didn't need him this week, at least from my perspective. And I know a lot of you were excited about Plan C. I understand that. I don't agree with it. I don't like this. I don't want to see this. But I get why the WWE is going here. Because frankly, let's be perfectly realistic, even though Cena beat him 2 freaking years ago, the guy that ended the streak at WrestleMania at this point in time would seem the only active, legitimate threat for a John Cena in a title match. And the WWE has nobody to blame but themselves. And the WWE has completely pigeonholed themselves into this position where you have to bring in the part-time guy who you had end the streak of another part-time guy, even more part-time. You haven't had him on TV in over 3 damn months, and now here he is, and he's just walking right in, and he's getting the freaking title shot at SummerSlam. It's whatever. I will say that I didn't like this segment, not because it led to Lesnar getting the opportunity. To me, they could have played this out a little bit more with Triple H in terms of other guys coming out as options or him talking a little bit more. And then you have Heyman come out. Lesnar's music hits. They come down to the ring. They shake Triple H's hand, and that's it. It's over. You wait till next week. Goodbye. See you, everybody. Be excited and talk about this. But instead, they chose to have Paul Heyman go on this long diatribe. And I'm like, look, that would be fine. But you didn't need to do it here. You didn't need to do it this week. In my opinion, that type of promo should have been saved for next week. The perfect way to end this show to me would have been sitting there and giving the people something while making them want more. And instead, you just gave us an incredibly long end of the show, and it just kind of killed my buzz and interest. And again, it's a match that I don't care about. So I think the WWE did several things right on this week's Raw, and they did a lot of good things, frankly, on this week's Raw. You know, some of their featured matches, like Stephanie and Brie and Lesnar versus Cena, I just don't give a shit about right now. And that's not a good thing, at least from my perspective. But I want to hear from you. What did you think of Raw this week? Did you enjoy the show? Did you like how they set the table for SummerSlam? And are you excited for Lesnar Cena? Are you excited for Stephanie Brie? Are you excited for what is shaping up to be a pretty good and full SummerSlam card?